Hey guys, we are here in the shop today and we're going to take a look at a long requested operation, which is how to shorten jeans and keep the original hem. Let's get started. Okay, I'm going to give you a little overhead view while we're laying these jeans out to cut. So we've got our pair of jeans and we are going to measure and first mark the line for where it should be when it's finished. So we are aiming for 27.5, all right? And we're gonna give ourselves a little chalk line there, straight across. I like to set this up on my gridded cutting table because that makes it a lot easier for me. Now, this is gonna be a hard one, I know, but you are not gonna leave any seam allowance. I know it's terrifying, but we're gonna do it and it's gonna work, okay? So we're gonna cut straight across, right at that 27.5. You ready? All right, put my fancy cut glove on. And then I'm lining up the bottom edge of the pant right here so that I know that my cut line will be straight up here, coming right across the gridded table here. Alrighty. Perfect. And then I'm going to use my rotary just because I like how exact it is, but no reason you can't use scissors. Perfect. Now, let's move on to our actual original hem and how we're going to get it back on. Very important detail here. You see that cute decorative stitching? Usually on a jean only one side has one. We want to make sure that we match up that decorative stitching with the decorative stitching on the jean. So in this case, this needs to match up right there. All right? Now, how do we get to do that? Well, often the front leg and the back leg are different sizes, so we can't just slap this on anyway. We have to reattach it in a very specific way. We need to open this original hem all the way so that we can get to this innermost edge, okay? So again, we've got to fold it up like this. We just took the stitching out. Unfold it all the way to the innermost edge. This is very important. Then we're going to take that innermost edge and match it up, correct side, right side, facing wrong side. You see that? See what I'm doing there? That is how we are going to reattach this, because that's how we can get the stitching here and on the outseam matching the correct way. So again, correct side is going inside of the pant leg. The garment is turned the correct way out, and it's going up against the wrong side of the denim. Got it? We've moved over to the ironing board to finish our pinning because we're going to need the heat of the iron to coax this band back into shape, and I will show you what I mean. So we've got our original band here that we are going to attach back onto the jean. Now we're going to work around here, pinning this in place. Again, correct side of the original band hem going against the wrong side of the jean. See? There we go. So we're going to pin that all the way around, matching up the seams on both sides. And then if the hemband is a little bit larger than the new shorter length of the pant leg, which can definitely happen, we're just going to stretch a little bit as we pin to balance out that extra material. That original hem may be larger because you may be moving quite a few inches up on the pant leg, so the pant leg is getting smaller. That's okay. That's totally normal. So again, stretching a teensy bit here. Now that we're all pinned in place and we've matched up both our outseam and our inseam, we're ready to put our first stitching line in to hold this piece back onto the jean. After that, we're going to come back over here to the iron and flip this to the outside to finish up that new hem and make it look like the old one. We're over at the machine. Let me give you a few quick notes before we get sewing. I've got my pant leg here, and I'm going to choose a color that is similar so that the stitching that we put in here, in case it shows later, it won't be very obvious. Gray, blue, white. If you have any of these colors already in the machine, just go ahead and use them. We are going to be stitching right to the inside of this trough. You see that? So not directly in it, but a little closer to the edge. So just less than ½ inch in most cases. So see this little section here? You see how it is slightly too big? That's when I'm gonna just kind of pull and sort of stretch just a little bit just to get the two pieces of fabric to come together. And you see how the trough is right here, and I am just sewing slightly right off to the right of it. All right, pinning out, pulling out the pins as I go, of course, and lining up the edges of the fabric. That's really important as well, lining up the edge of the jean with the edge of the original hem piece that we are attaching. And I am sewing from the inside of the pant leg, so the jeans are turned the correct way out as I am doing this. We'll slow down a little as we come over this decorative hump and make sure we've got all of our pins out of the way, and just take it easy so that we don't slow and steady. And I also, you see, like to lift the presser foot quite a bit when I'm going over a hump like this. And that's just to help the fabric reposition itself. Sometimes the presser foot can really push that wad of fabric and misalign this stitching with the stitching that we know is underneath, and that'll end up being a visual issue later. So I lift a lot as I'm going over a hump of large fabric and just ease the fabric under. There we go. We are almost back to where we started. Perfect. All right. We're over at the iron now, and this is where it gets fun. So we've got to get our hem wrapped up to the outside. So we're going to pin this all in place so that not only is it secure by the seam that we just used to attach this to the inside, but now it's going to be secure on the outside as we pin and stitch through. I'm over here at the industrial now, and I want to give you two tips. One is we're going to use a really heavy needle. So I'm going to be using a size 110 or size 18, and we're going to be using a nice heavy cotton top stitching thread used just for jeans, and it is a Tex 80. You can buy this in Tex 60 or 80, and I like the slightly heavier, especially with this fancy denim that we've got out here in Oklahoma. So we're going to load up the machine with our 110 needle and our heavy thread and get stitching. Alrighty, I am going to start right before my decorative stitching spot. So I'm going to choose either the inseam or the outseam, and I don't want to do too much back stitching with this heavier thread because it's very obvious. So I really want to make this a continuous seam. So let's start, and as we get up to that hump, that really heavy hump of fabric, I am going to lift a lot I'm going to lift my presser foot and allow the needle to take a few bites and just adjust. If I feel like I'm getting a little bit of tension here, I really am going to slow down, and I am actually using the hand wheel right now. So I'm going to lift, adjust, and when I'm ready, start continuing on. Now, in this close-up, you can see a couple of things. You can see our stitching, the original stitching line that we put in to hold this piece in place, and you can see the darker dye from where the totally original stitching was. We are aiming to cover this seam and to stitch in that same trough that the original stitching was in. So we're holding it all flat. We're making sure that it's this nice, untwisted, unwarped band. And we're just slowly moving and readjusting. This is where I feel that the pins can get in the way because I just end up poking myself. We're working in a really small area here as we're making this work in this circular bottom of this pant. We're lucky with this pant in particular because it's got a wider bottom, but with the skinny jeans, this can get really tight, and I don't like to poke myself with the pins, really. There we go. We're just slowly following that original stitch line die. And as we come up to the other seam, the out seam, again, I'm going to slow down and just take it a few stitches at a time, just to keep it easy on my machine, keep it easy on myself, and try not to break that needle. And I'm just holding it all in place. That's the other thing. I don't know how many pins you could try to jam in here, but I just find that feeling as I go makes for the most accurate stitching. There we go, and I can feel that we are coming up on our beginning, and we're just going to run right over those original stitches, and that'll kind of act as our locking stitch instead of back stitching. So we're just going to go like this right up to it. Alrighty, let's take it on over to the iron and see how we did. Let's iron it up. So we always want to give it one more good press, and I like to do that with lots of steam and hit the layers individually. You see how I'm going in between, especially when we get to those seams on either side. Really flatten it out, and you'll see that in some areas the top stitching from the correct side does hold the bottom band in place, so you might think, oh, I don't need to do that first line, but in some areas it doesn't. You see that there? It wouldn't have been caught, and this would just be flipping up. So we really have to have that first seam so that we can hold all of it in place when we put that final top stitch on. And let's see if we matched up our seams on this side. Yes. And how about on this one? Pretty good. Now we can kind of manipulate this as we iron. I really love how flexible fabric can be, and so we can kind of force that into place with steam, the iron, and a teensy bit more of flattening out with our hammer, and really get that looking good, looking nice and continuous. Awesome. The final step, of course, is that we're going to measure it. So let's lay this out on our grid table again, and remember, we are looking for a 27.5-inch inseam. And let's see if we hit it. Coming straight down from the crotch. If the leg curves a little, then I just place the tape right along it and hold that in place straight down from the crotch, and bingo, 27.5. Woo woo. So to recap on this project, good tools are going to make this a lot easier, and they're going to give you the outcome that you're looking for. So a nice heavy machine with a motor that can handle it, good iron with good steam, heavy needles, and the right thread, that's what's going to get you the result that you're looking for. That looks dang near exactly what this pant already had. Gosh, I love this operation. So good tools and exact measurements are really going to get you that awesome result. Good luck out there. Thanks for joining me.